Good morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is Bob Acarfio, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist with today's tropical update for Tuesday, September 21st, 2010. Watching Hurricane Igor as he passes just to the southeast of Newfoundland this morning. We've had some winds gusting to tropical storm force on the southeastern end of the island this morning. Racing off to the northeast at 45 is starting to transition into an extratropical system. We should see extratropical transition here today, and then eventually off to the north and then into the northwest. Pretty big extratropical system out here, so a lot of winds and pretty big system this will be. So that's Hurricane Igor. Let's just look at him on the satellite view one last little time here as he passes again to the southeast here of Newfoundland. And then on the Newfoundland radar this morning, you could see a lot of rainfall. And again, this has been pretty much hitting the southeastern end. And like I said, I've seen some observations where they are gusting about 45 to 55 miles an hour here on the southeastern end of the island. So that's it for Igor. That'll probably be the last time I talk about him. On to Tropical Storm Lisa. This one formed last night. It's our 12th system of the season. Tropical Storm Lisa is moving at north at 5 miles an hour, maximum sustained winds at 40. Tropical Storm Lisa is going to be interesting. It's probably going to be sitting out here for a long time. Not much really to move it. Should have a slow north movement the next 24 hours, and then should start off to the west-northwest as kind of a weak ridge of high pressure builds to its north. Lisa's not going to be any threat to land. Eventually, Lisa's going to do two things. It's going to weaken because we should be getting some shear here from time to time from these troughs that move from west to east across the Atlantic. Or Lisa's just going to get caught up in one of these troughs and gets pushed out to sea eventually. So Lisa will not be a threat to land. Actually, you could see Lisa strengthen a little bit in the next 24 to 36 hours. If you're looking at the shear map right now, here's Lisa here. We're noticing some westerly shear to its north. And there's actually some northerly shear out here, but it's in this little area here. If it can, depends how far. If it sneaks a little too far north the next 24 hours, it could get into some of this shear here. But this trough will be lifting off to the northeast, so it's going to get into a little better environment here for 24 to 36 hours. And waters are still fairly warm here, so we could see Lisa strengthen a little bit, maybe up to 50, 55, 60 mile an hour tropical storm, and then eventually, as it kicks off to the west-northwest, again very slowly. Could getting more shear up here, and waters will start to get cooler up here. So that's going to be Lisa's track here. And you can see on the satellite this morning, pretty good convection around its center. Now that's starting to warm the cloud tops. You see the shear here off to the north. So Lisa's okay, still kind of a weak system, and I don't see, like I said, too much out of Lisa. Like I said, we might get into a little better environment here in the 24 to 36 hours where Lisa could strengthen a little bit, but Lisa will not be any threat to land. And again, here's the models. Most of them taking it off to the west-northwest. Again, slowly, some a little quicker off to the north, but it should be mostly this kind of motion just like this. All right, so the big news everybody wants to know, this is the system in the Caribbean that we're going to watch develop this week. Here it is right now. We should get an invest tag on this sometime today, I would think. National Hurricane Center gives this area about a 20% chance right now. Would think that might be a little more, but we'll see. It looks like development's going to be sometime Thursday, Friday, right in this area as it moves west. We almost have two areas. This is kind of that old trough left behind by Igor, and then we have this system right in here. But it looks like this is the one we're going to be watching right in here as it moves to the west-northwest. And again, Thursday, Friday, sometime in this area right here, south of Jamaica, we should see development. Looking at this was the ASCAP pass last night, and again, just to show you, there's no circulation there yet. Wind's starting to pick up in this area, but no circulation center. So here's the shear map, and shear looks very good. We have a trough right here, giving some westerly, southwesterly shear in the western Caribbean. This is going to lift north. So this is going to open up the stage for very light shear and very favorable conditions. So once this gets some spin going to it, we should really see this take off right in this area here. And this is where most of the models have this system developing in the Thursday, Friday time range. So where is it going? That's the million-dollar question. Is this going to get up into the Gulf of Mexico? Is it going to affect Florida? northern Gulf Coast, right up the East Coast. Big questions right now with that system. And here's some of the models. I kind of give you some of my thoughts here. This is the Euro model, and again, this is showing this system. It'll come back into a loop here. It's showing this system getting itself together. Look right in this area here. And there it is. This is Thursday, Friday time range, and then kicks it up to the north and heads it towards the northern Gulf Coast here. What's happening is, and the models have actually come into a little better agreement today with this scenario. Both the GFS and the Euro are pretty much on board with a, I'll show you this in a minute, but the scenario is going to be a strengthening trough near Alaska. That's going to strengthen the ridge over the Rockies, and that's actually going to dive a trough down along the East Coast here. And you can see it right in here as this trough dives right down along the East Coast. This could induce this system north if this scenario plays out. Now again, this is 7 to 10 days out. This is about a week out right in here. So this is 7 to 10 days in this time frame as it moves up. So we still have a long way to go to really I don't want anybody to be alarmed across the Gulf Coast. This is just showing you a scenario. It's again, the models are in better agreement today, but again, the system hasn't formed yet. And again, we're still 7 to 10 days out on this. So I just want you to be aware of the situation. No need to get alarmed yet. I'm not going to hype this up like a big hurricane's coming to Florida or the northern Gulf Coast yet. But just be aware that by next week, we could be looking at a system, a potential hurricane here moving up into the Gulf of Mexico. But again, long way off. But here's the Euro model, and that's showing you that scenario there. And both the Euro and the GFS here, I'm going to show you the GFS here as it's going to come into motion here again. System develops here Thursday, Friday, and it almost pulls into Central America and then puts on the brakes, and then here we go. The GFS inducing it north. You see this cutoff right here. Look at this cutoff low forming right in the southeast here. And that could really induce this system north. So it's really going to depend on two things. How strong that trough is over Alaska will actually depend on how strong this trough is along the East Coast. So, you know, a more flat or weaker trough, then this could go farther west. If this trough digs down farther, again, this is almost 7 days out. If this trough digs down farther to the south and gets a nice cutoff low right in here, then this could induce this system up to the north. Right now, both the GFS and the Euro are pretty much on board with that scenario, bringing this system north. So we'll have to really see if that's going to come to fruition. First, we got to get this system developed. Then we can really start focusing on the track. You know, if this system develops farther south, hey, it may never find that weakness up to the north. If this system develops farther north, then hey, it could turn even quicker, maybe right up the East Coast even. So that's, you know, until we really get a center, we'll really know where this system's going. But just to be aware, that's what we're looking at right now. And all the models show this system developing here. Right now, the Canadian model and the UK Met model actually push this system farther west. So they're a little more west on this, not really having such a strong trough along the East Coast early next week. But every global model develops this system. So we're pretty on board with development here. And again, this is just showing you, this is the HPC from NOAA, just showing you, I wanted to just show you what the map could look like by Monday. And you can see they have a front all the way down through the Gulf Coast here. And this, they don't have a storm here on the map yet, but if so, the storm would be somewhere in here. And it could get induced to the north by if this trough really digs down. So here's that big trough over Alaska. And I'm going to show you here on the satellite view. This is what we're going to be watching. This trough right here in Alaska. You can see it's starting to dig down, bringing winter to Alaska this weekend, end of this weekend. So depending on how strong this trough is, we'll strengthen the ridge in the Rockies, and then we'll dive that trough down along the East Coast. So those are the mechanisms. It's interesting to know that our weather here across the Gulf Coast in Florida, and whether we get a hurricane or not, will depend on what happens in Alaska. That's why weather is very interesting to me, and this just shows you the relationships with what's going to happen in Alaska is going to depend on what could happen with our weather early next week. So that's what we're really going to be watching, and that's what I'm going to be watching now as we move through the week to see exactly where this system may go. And last but not least, a little overview of the MJO here. As you know, I'm not a huge proponent. Well, I follow the MJO. It doesn't make or break my tropical seasonal forecast. I think too much emphasis is put on the MJO. I mean, the MJO has actually not been as strong as it was supposed to be this tropical season so far. And what do we have? 12 systems and 5 major hurricanes. So we can't live and die by the MJO. Some forecasters do. I don't. But the MJO, here's from NOAA, MJO signal remained weak during the past week, and looks like the forecast is it to remain weak over the next 1 to 2 weeks. So, hey, it's to me the MJO adds to the current situation, and if it remains weak, hey, that's good news. We don't need anything added to this season so far. So that's kind of good news there for the MJO, and hopefully that'll verify. Well, that's my tropical update for today. I will have another update for you guys tomorrow morning. Have a good day and stay tuned to liveweatherblogs.com for your latest weather information.